So we are at the season finale of The Peripheral, season 1, and they built this up to an epic conclusion, and we get this episode. Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Anthony, here to give you guys another episode review of The Peripheral. This is the season finale. This is what we've been waiting for. The confrontation between Flynn and Dr. Doolin. Will we find out what is actually happening with Alita? We get to those things, but maybe not the way that we want. And as always, guys, I'm going to try to make a good recap for you guys. And, you know, I am human, so there's bound to be some mistakes in there, some things that I get wrong, some misspoken words that I say. So let me know in the comments down below. Be as nice as you can. Let's get into the finale, episode 8 of The Peripheral, The Creation of 1,000 Forests. So the episode starts off in the past as we see Flynn and Connor, who is in the hospital recovering from his fight with Beatrice, as he tells Flynn that he wishes that he could get a restart like they do in The Sims and restart part of his life where he chose to save the dog instead of killing it. But I think this is a really nice moment, a really good way to set the tone of the episode, the finale, you know, talking about the past, him regretting what he did before, and Flynn kind of like sympathizing with that. And we do get a little bit of that towards the end of the episode where the both of them come back together and kind of like rehash the statement that he says in the beginning. We then cut to our favorite character, Tommy, as he deals with the aftermath of his actions. He killed off the sheriff and Corbell and has to figure out how to call it in. And during this time, Tommy is like fiddling with the evidence. You know, he has taken Bob's gun, which he used to kill the sheriff with. He's taken the doodad, which he used to kill Corbell with. And he's putting it back in the evidence bag. And, you know, he's putting his DNA and his fingerprints all over this crime scene. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, I know it's a TV show. I know it's fiction. You know, I know all this stuff. But wouldn't the cops figure this out? You know, all they have to do is run some DNA prints and they'll find out that it's Tommy. But then again, I realized that, you know, Corbell has bought pretty much half of the town. And I'm pretty sure that most of the cops are on his side. And, you know, until recently, Tommy was looked at as a spineless cop. So they're probably not going to even suspect him at actually pulling something like this off. Tommy calls it in and pins the attack on Bob, who, you know, we are still grieving. The rest of the police arrive and tell Tommy that they have a pulse on one of the victims, and it is Corbell, which is, you know, pretty much what I figured. He just shot him with a sonic gun from the future through a window, you know. I think he could survive that. The other officers say that they have gotten a call from the other officers saying that there is an active shooting at the hospital where Dickey works. And this is when Tommy finally realizes that, you know, he should have been checking his phone because his fiance's been blowing up his phone asking him for help. Tommy arrives at the hospital and tells Dickey that the sheriff and Corbell and Corbell's wife were attacked by Bob right before he attacked her at the hospital. We then jump to the future London where Inspector Lobier and Flynn and the others are talking about working together to stop Dr. Doolin. She says that she will help them navigate the upcoming jackpot in exchange for their service. Flynn brings up her mother's recent relapse and asks if the inspector can do anything to help. Lobier consults the aunties by doing some kind of like, you know, I'm talking to the aunties, and comes back with bad news. She can't save Flynn's mother, and to make matters worse, she only has 23 days to live. Later that night, Flynn tells her mother everything that she was told, and Ella does the most motherly thing and says, you know, well, I had a good run. She tells Flynn that with her being gone, she can finally live up to her full potential without her holding her back. Flynn, of course, doesn't want her mother to die, and she's pretty much says that, you know, she is the reason for who she is today. And with her gone, she doesn't know if she's going to be able to, you know, be the same person. We jump back into the future where Ash meets with Dr. Doolin and tells her about Alita's stolen data. She tells her that the data is in Flynn's head and that Lev knows about it and will use the data to destroy the world. And Ash doesn't want to live in that world. Doolin says that she can stop Lev, but it will be at a major cost. She will have to accelerate the timeline where Flynn is in to bump up the time where the jackpot will occur, killing Flynn off as well as years of research. Doolin asks Ash what she wants as a reward for telling her this info, and Ash says she just wants her to kill Lev because of what he did to Ocean. And this is the beginning of, you know, Ash doing some weird character decisions. You know, I know it's not her per se, but it's just the way that she was written in this show, because she does something later on that kind of just boggles my mind and makes me really confused. Like, What? We then cut to Flynn and Wilf as Wilf apologizes to her about Flynn's mother. Flynn asks about Alita, and Wilf believes that she is truly dead. He talks about how he can barely remember his past, about his family, and where he first met Alita. Everything seems kind of foggy to him. Then Wilf and Flynn do their connection thing, you know, they're molding as I call it, and Flynn is asking him questions how he like truly feels about certain people that she has met during her journey. You know, she asked about how he feels about Lev, how he feels about Lobert, how he feels about her, and then, you know, they are like, oh, I actually like you, I like you, and it goes into that whole thing. You know, what do I feel about their relationship? What do I feel about this whole connection, you know, the chemistry? I think it's all right. I mean, as long as they're not throwing out the love word, you know, I know everybody's interpretation of love is different, but, you know, jumping a little too fast if that's what they're thinking here. Flynn asks Wilf about a place that he had mentioned before where Alita and him used to hide out when they were kids that had a flag with no thumb. Then Wilf pretty much says what we are all thinking. I'm a fool. And the two of them run to the location of Alita and Wolf's old hideout. Ash and Ocean see that Flynn and Wilf are going to the location where they think Alita is, and Ocean asks if they should let Lev know. Ash says that we have a new master now, meaning Dr. Newland, and when Wilf and Flynn arrive to the location, they find a young Alita Peripheral, and Alita tells Flynn that she needs to leave because Ash and Ocean are washing. Flynn reluctantly agrees, and Alita takes Wilf to their old hideout location and tells him that their parents are buried here and that Lev's father is the one that killed him. The real Alita shows up and tells her Peripheral to start digging. Alita tells Wilf that when she took out her implant, she started to remember things, and this is why Wilf cannot remember as much as she can. Alita reveals that she has been building an army of people that are like Wilf in her. So I'm guessing orphans, and they want to take back what is theirs, and they need the data that is in Flynn's head to succeed. Back in the past, we see Jasper and the rest of the Corbell goons kind of celebrating Corbell's injuries and say that they need to continue his legacy and that one of them, other than Jasper, needs to be the new leader. The goons continue to bully Jasper the whole night. As Jasper is driving them home, he stops in the middle of the train tracks and locks the goons in. Jasper then calls Billy Ann. He tells her that, hey, you know what? Finally, I grew some balls and I'm gonna kill these guys. He doesn't really say that, I'm paraphrasing here. But he pretty much says that, you know, I'm finally going to do what you said. I'm going to do something for myself. And Billy Ann pretty much says, like, I wasn't really serious about that. And he's like, yeah, you were. And she was like, no, I just want people to stop walking all over you and I wanted you to win for once. And this is when Jasper's kind of like, dang, you know, I made a mistake. So he tries to go down and tries to save the goons, but it's too late. He locked his keys into the car, you know, classic Jasper, and the train comes and instantly kills them in a fiery explosion. And, you know, I'm not really sad about this. You know, I don't really care if they died because we didn't care about those characters, you know. So is there going to be any consequences? I'm not really sure. You know, I don't know if they have any relatives of high power, those goons did, but they're gone. We cut to the next day where Tommy tells Flynn that he has heard about an attack that is going to be planned on the missile silo and asks Flynn if she knows anything about it. Flynn lies and leaves and tells Macon that she needs to get the headset ready so she can go back into the future. In the future, she confronts Ash about what is going on and finds out that Ash knew about it the entire time. Which, this is what I was talking about with Ash's character. It feels like a total shift when we see her in the beginning of the episode until now. She kind of is like all for like, I want to, anything that we can do to stop Lev and the world that he wants to build. Just do whatever you want, Dr. Newland. So to me, she's kind of had like thought that Flynn dying and her family dying was a possibility of this outcome that she really wants. But now here she's kind of like, oh, I didn't know that you might get hurt in the process. It's a really weird character development for this character, for Ash. So I don't know what was with the writing for that. I don't know, you know, let me know in the comments down below. Did you guys, am I the only one that thinks this is weird? Let me know. Flynn then meets with Lobert and tells her the plan. Flynn wants to open a new stub and restart the timeline. Flynn asks Lobert if she can do this, and she says no, but she knows how Flynn can do it herself. Lobert tells Flynn the location of one of the Research Institute's off-grid sites that are known as stub portals, pretty much places where you can build like new stubs. It's like a new save point if you play video games. Once Flynn arrives, she's met with resistance and quickly quickly fights them off in some, pretty good choreography. I would say this is probably like the second best choreography that they have shown in this series. I know a lot of you were coming for me about how do you know about choreography? I don't really know. I just know what I watched, and I've seen a lot of Kung Fu movies in my short lifespan. And I was like, I shouldn't be comparing it to old Jackie Chan movies, but this one, it's not working. Flynn finds a pocket watch that she uses to control the stub portal and create a new stub. Dr. Newland, who has been watching this whole time, takes control of one of the beaten peripherals and says that she will find Flynn and kill her. But Flynn says that she won't, and that she will know where to find Dr. Newland, but Dr. Newland won't know when and where she will be coming from. We then flash back to Flynn telling Connor her plan and how she is going to save their timeline. But at a cost. She needs Connor to kill her in her timeline so that Dr. Newland will stop the jackpot from happening there, but she has to make it look like the Inspector Lubir hired someone to take her out. We then cut to Flynn walking out into the forest, and she looks out into the distance and she counts backwards from 10, replaying her events that has happened this entire season. She counts back and she gets to 1, and we see Connor in the distance, not wanting to pull the trigger, but he does. We hear the trigger being pulled and a gunshot fire, and then Flynn is dead. Hey guys, future Anthony here. I was editing and I realized I missed something here, but it's not the end of the episode. The episode actually ends right before the end credit comes out, and we see Lubir and Flynn talking, and Lubir's pretty much like, welcome back. So it just pretty much shows that the plan that Flynn made worked, and she's back in her peripheral, and they're gonna fuck some shit up in season 2. And that is the end of episode 8, the final episode of the season. But wait, there's more. This has turned into a Marvel movie. We do get a end credit scene for some reason where we see Lev and his wife walking into a very elegant and luxurious restaurant where they're going to meet up with Lev's father. But instead, they see a group of men sitting there at the table. Instead, thinking he's done something wrong, Lev reluctantly goes over and sits with the 3 men. The 3 men talk about Lev's recent actions and how they have put the Klept at risk. They tell him that he can continue messing with the Research Institute and gathering data, but he needs to cut any attachment that may lead back to him and the Klept. Because if he doesn't, then they will cut a tree. They make some tree analogies. And they pretty much are saying that if he doesn't get his stuff in order, they're going to personally come and take people out. And that is the real conclusion to the episode, the final episode of the season 1 of the Peripheral. Whoa boy, man, we got a lot to talk about. So this being the final episode of the season, I was expecting some stuff to go down, and it did go down, but kind of in a meh kind of way. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate this episode, I don't hate this series. I think it's a pretty good series. I like it. I mean, I've reviewed every episode so far, but like I said, I think that this episode is kind of lackluster. I was expecting a really big showdown between Dr. Newland and Flynn, or Dr. Newland and somebody, The reveal for Alita was kind of lackluster as well. It just added more questions to the pot. What is she doing with this gathering of random ass people? Who are these people? And also, it wasn't me, or was Alita kind of like a dick towards Wilf? I know he doesn't have the implant taken out of his head, so that's why he doesn't remember. She's talking to him like, hey dude, why don't you have the implant out? It's kind of weird. But like I said, that is the end of the episode. I had a good time talking about this season with you guys. As always, let me know in the comments down below what I missed, because I'm pretty sure there's something that I missed in here. Let me know in the comments down below. But overall, what I thought about this episode and the series in a whole, I think it's pretty good. It draws my attention. I really like the characters for the most part. Flynn's character, I think, is pretty badass. She's like the #1 character for me. And all the side characters help pretty well. But as always, guys, let me know what you think of this episode and other episodes in the comments down below. If you haven't already, check out the rest of my reviews. I'm going to be putting it right here, so you can check out all of them, get caught up if you haven't already, to see all the rest of the reviews and recaps from episode 1 to now. Go check it out. And I will be doing another series review for another series on Prime called 3 Pines. I've already watched the first episode. It's good, guys. It's really good, very intense, very psychological. Don't know how I'm going to be able to do recaps for that, but I'm going to try. If you're interested in that, go check that out. That will be out later today, at least the first episode. But as always, guys, don't forget to check out my Twitter so you can stay up to date with my channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, guys, keep watching.